I arrived in a small village in the south of France, surrounded by fields of lavender stretching toward the hills. I hadn't come here for the beauty. I came because I needed somewhere far enough away from the memories that still hurt. The scent of lavender met me before the village even came into view. Warm and sweet, impossibly calm. I remember thinking it was strange, how a place could smell like peace when I felt none inside me. Rows of violet stretched endlessly toward the hills, swaying gently in the afternoon breeze. I stood at the edge of one field for a long moment, unsure if I was allowed to feel anything close to wonder. I found the cottage at the end of a narrow gravel path, its stone walls covered in climbing roses. It looked like something from a memory that wasn't mine, and somehow that felt right. I stood at the door longer than I meant to, suitcase heavy in my hand, unsure if I had the right to ask for shelter when I couldn't explain why I needed it. The door opened before I could knock, and a small, silver-haired woman looked at me with eyes that asked nothing and understood everything. She simply said, "Come in, child," as if she'd been expecting me all along. I stepped inside, and the scent of dried lavender and old wood wrapped around me like something I didn't know I'd been missing. For the first time in a long while, I let my shoulders drop. Colette led me through the small cottage, pointing out the kitchen, the well-worn armchair, the window that caught the last of the evening light. Everything about the place felt lived in and gentle. My room was tiny, tucked under the eaves, with a hand-stitched quilt and little bundles of dried lavender hung by the window. It smelled like calm itself. That first evening, we ate a simple soup by candlelight, and Colette didn't ask a single question about where I'd come from or why. I was grateful for every silence she let me keep. She tucked an extra blanket at the foot of my bed without a word, the kind of quiet kindness that asks for nothing in return. I hadn't realized how much I needed exactly that. I fell asleep to the sound of wind moving through the lavender outside my window, softer than any silence I'd known in months. I woke the next morning unsure for a moment where I was, and then remembering with a strange, small relief. Nothing here was asking anything of me yet. I opened the shutters to a view of rooftops and lavender fields catching the early sun, and for the first time in a long while, a day ahead of me didn't feel heavy. Colette took me into the village that morning, introducing me simply as her guest, nothing more. The baker nodded, the florist smiled, and no one asked for anything else. The village square filled with a small market by midday, crates of vegetables and jars of honey, voices overlapping in a language I was only beginning to understand. I started helping Colette with small chores, sweeping the stone step, watering the herbs, folding linen still warm from the line. The tasks asked nothing of my past, only my hands. In the afternoons, a few of the village women gathered on a bench near the fountain, and one day, without ceremony, they simply made room for me too. I picked up small phrases here and there, enough to say thank you, enough to ask for bread. No one minded how badly I said them. I took to walking alone in the evenings, past shuttered windows and warm-lit doorways, feeling, for the first time in this village, something like belonging. I hadn't expected to be folded into a place so quickly, so gently, without ever having to explain the shape of what I'd left behind. Every morning, I woke early and walked out into the lavender fields while the dew was still on them. The whole world quiet except for the bees. I'd run my hand along the tops of the rows, releasing that sweet, sharp scent, and breathe it in until it felt like it had replaced something heavier in my chest. Some mornings, I just sat between the rows and let the sun climb higher, in no hurry to be anywhere else. I watched the field workers cut bundles of lavender by hand, tying them with twine the way they had for generations, unhurried and precise. One of them, an older woman with sun-worn hands, told me the lavender would be harvested soon, and that the fields would look bare for a while after. I didn't yet understand why that detail would matter to me. I started bringing small handfuls back to the cottage each morning, filling jars on the windowsill until the whole house smelled like the fields outside it. There was something about those mornings, unhurried and purposeless, that began quietly rearranging something inside me. Colette taught me to bake bread the way she'd learned as a girl, measuring nothing, trusting her hands instead. Mine were clumsy at first, but she never once looked impatient. We kneaded the dough together at the worn wooden table, flour dusting both our sleeves, the kitchen warm with the smell of yeast and wood smoke. When the loaves finally came out golden and cracked on top, I felt a small, disproportionate pride, as if I'd made something more than just bread. We brought a loaf to the neighbor down the lane, an old habit of Colette's I was slowly being folded into without ever being asked. We ate lunch outside some days, bread and cheese and ripe tomatoes, at a small table beneath a fig tree that dropped shade instead of shadow. In the heat of the afternoon, the whole village seemed to pause. Shutters closed, and I learned to let myself pause with it instead of fighting the stillness. My days had become smaller and slower than I'd ever allowed them to be, and strangely, that smallness felt like more room to breathe. I started writing in my journal again, something I hadn't done since before everything happened. The pages filling slowly with small, unremarkable things. I found a bench at the edge of the village that looked out over the lavender, and it became my favorite place to write, unbothered and unseen. Some entries were just lists of what I'd noticed that day. Others, written more carefully, finally let me say the things I hadn't been able to say out loud. That evening, I watched the sun set behind the hills, the whole sky turning shades of rose and gold over the darkening fields. It became a small ritual, climbing the hill just before dusk with my journal, watching the color change until the first stars appeared. One evening, Watching the light fade, I cried quietly for the first time since arriving. Not from sadness exactly, but from something finally being allowed to move through me. I walked back to the cottage in the near dark, feeling lighter than I had in months, as if I'd set something down on that hillside. One afternoon, an old friend of Colette's studied me a moment too long, as if about to ask something, and then simply offered me more tea instead. Back home, everyone had wanted the story, the details, the reasons. Here, no one seemed to need any of it to treat me kindly. Slowly, without deciding to, I started mentioning small, true things. A name, a date, a feeling, and no one flinched or pushed for more. When the village held a small summer gathering in the square, Colette simply took my arm and brought me along. No invitation needed, no explanation required. I danced badly to music I didn't know the words to, laughing harder than I had in what felt like years. An old man at the gathering told me, unprompted, that everyone in this village had a story they didn't tell, and that was simply allowed here. For the first time in a long while, I let myself be somewhere without performing being okay, and no one seemed to mind either way. I met Henri one morning at the edge of the lavender field, an old gardener with soil-stained hands and a patience that seemed to have no bottom. He didn't ask what was wrong. He simply said that he'd noticed I watched the fields the way someone watches something they're afraid will disappear. He told me the lavender wouldn't bloom forever, that soon the fields would be cut back to bare, quiet rows until the following summer. Every season has its own kind of beauty, he said, even the bare ones. The waiting isn't empty, it's just quieter than the blooming. I didn't say anything for a long moment, turning his words over as if they were meant for something larger than the flowers. Healing, he added, almost as an afterthought, isn't about forgetting what came before. It's about letting new things grow alongside it. I carried his words with me long after that conversation ended, turning them over like something small and important I didn't want to lose. The weeks passed quietly, one folding into the next, marked only by small changes in the light and the color of the fields. I noticed, almost without meaning to, that I'd stopped counting the days I'd been away, and stopped needing to. Colette and I fell into an easy rhythm, cooking together, sitting quietly together, needing fewer and fewer words between us. The fields began to change. Workers moving through with their scythes, the endless violet slowly giving way to bare green rose. I expected to feel the field's emptiness as loss, but instead I felt something closer to acceptance, remembering what Henri had said about seasons. I caught myself laughing at something small and ordinary, and realized, with quiet surprise, that my loneliness had somewhere along the way become peace. For the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt entirely, unremarkably okay. Eventually, quietly, I knew it was time to go home, though home no longer felt like the word I used to attach to that place. I packed slowly, folding the same few things I'd arrived with, though I left feeling like an entirely different weight in my chest. Colette held my face in both hands, the way she might a daughter's, and told me simply that her door would always be open. Henri pressed a small bundle of dried lavender into my hand and told me to remember that even bare seasons end. I walked once more through the village streets, memorizing the shape of the light on the shutters, trying to hold on to all of it a little longer. On the journey home, I carried only a small bouquet of dried lavender, a notebook full of ordinary, honest memories, and something new settled quietly in my chest. I understood, finally, that the most important journey isn't the one that takes you somewhere new. It's the one that leads you back to yourself.